And we are back with our next guest. We have with us on the show Jeramie Kling, who we know from Venom Inc. and Human Condition and most recently XDO, here to talk with us today about his band that he is the drummer in, Florida-based Tampa death metal veterans, The Absence. Welcome back to the show, Jeramie.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Thanks so much for having me, as always.
So, Jeramie wears many hats in the music business. And for instance, Jeramie, where are you today and what are you doing?
Currently, I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I am doing front of house for Deicide and Cataclysm on their headlining tour.
And how's that been going for you guys?
Man, it's been incredible. I think everybody has just been ready to be back at shows. I mean, even given this crazy COVID spike, everyone is still showing up and really just supporting. I think that, you know, as scary as this all is, to quote Maurizio from Cataclysm, this is our church, you know, and it's very cathartic to be back here and being in our natural environment. So, yeah, so I'm out here doing live sound and, one of many hats.
So Jeramie, all the bands that you're in all have different and unique sounds. So how would you describe The Absence music and tell us a little background on the band?
Well, I mean, the long and the short of it is The Absence is a melodic death metal band, circa 95 through 99 Sweden. We really were big fans of their thrashy vibes, and we really liked how they threw melody together. But then it's also a very good combination of Florida death metal, like Death and Deicide and Cannibal Corpse. I mean, obviously some of those bands had transplanted there, but I mean, obviously we had a scene in the early 90s, so it's very prevalent. So The Absence was a good blend of that Swedish death metal mixed with Florida death metal.
So what's the current lineup in that band?
The current lineup is myself, Taylor Nordberg, who's been in the band now 9 years, and Jamie Stewart, of course, him and I started the band, and Mike Leon, who has been in the band since 2007 when we put out Riders. He joined up shortly after that.
And we're here today to talk about the new album from your band, The Absence, called Coffinized. So what message does this title, Coffinized, bring to us? And what are the themes as far as lyrics and stuff go throughout the album?
Well, for sure, coffinized is a made-up word, which is very exciting, because in death metal, you can just make words up, and then they become, like, you know, in the dictionary. So it's kind of like the past tense thought of something has been put into a coffin. It is, it has now since been coffinized. So it's a very dark record, even though it's a juxtaposition. We have a white album cover, but it's a very dark record with a lot of undertones of the past environment that all of us have been through in the past couple of years, especially with COVID, with our fucking crazy elections over here, with everything going on in with the current climate of humanity. So it's there's some optimism in there, which Jamie Stewart is classically known for writing very optimistic lyrics, and then there's some shit that's it's just very dark and scary.
And now, with so many projects going on for you, Jeramie, how did you all organize yourselves when writing this album?
It's the same as, most of my stuff. I never personally premeditate what I do in the studio. I always go in and with pretty much a fresh slate and write with 100% spontaneity, because I think that that's the best way for me personally, because I play and I'm like, well, that's as raw and as natural as it gets, I mean, I could sit there and work on some parts and really work on some parts and try and be like, interject with like a new idea or new technique in, but I don't know, I just found that I have more fun if I just write creatively in the moment and just generate music. For me, that's kind of the way it works. Now, that's as far as drum production goes. As far as song structuring, Taylor had written everything previously, and he had taken my old drum beats from different songs around the way, and he wrote to drums, my old drums. So it gave me a bit of a roadmap, so that in itself caused me to be like, wow, like you hear it in a demo sense, and then it can be changed from there. And I go, oh, well, that's cool. Or no, I might do a downbeat here instead. And then so it is sort of like writing without writing. I mean, I wrote it at some point, but just, I get to change it then at free will, which is pretty cool. And I guess that's for me as an artist, free will is paramount.
And now you mentioned a little bit how it's a white album cover. So tell us a little bit about the artwork for this album and the artist.
The artist's name is Chad Worrell, and he has done some work with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And man, we just fell in love with his artwork, and we had him redesign our beloved mascot, the Scullerfly, but we call him David Lee Moth. So we had Chad redo David Lee Moth, and we were like, wow, blown away by his style, by his work. So we decided to have him do the cover. And Jamie and him came up with a really cool concept and got it rolling. And then, boom, Coffinized is born. And this thing, whenever you look at it in person, the actual piece of artwork that he did is incredible. It has so much life in it. So much so to where if you look on the back cover, because it's a continued piece. It's a landscape piece. If you look at the back cover, which shows the rear of the artwork, it actually has his thumbprints and stuff in it, or fingerprints from where, because it's a graphite drawing. He just drew it, and it's really cool because it's like, I mean, that's his signature. I mean, that's his damn DNA, and right there, it's like showing. His prints are literally all over it, it's pretty cool. It really humanizes the whole experience.
And now you also did a drum playthrough for This Consuming Nocturne, I believe. So why did you pick that song for the playthrough?
I love that song. And I knew we were doing a lyric video for it, so I chose that one because I really like the intro. It harkens back to Gothenburg, and it's just it also reminds me a lot of some older Absence material. So I just went with that, and it was a fun playthrough.
And Jeramie, where can people go to pick up a copy, maybe some merch for this?
Well, you can head to the Absence's Bandcamp, or you can head to M Theory Audio's website, and that's our label for this record. And that's it. Or you just Google "Coffinize the Absence," and I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
And in leaving, Jeramie, I know you are in, like I said, a bunch of different bands, and each of those bands means different things to you. What does your band, The Absence, mean to you?
I mean, this is my first baby, so now it's legally allowed to drive a car. So that's a pretty wild thought. So I mean, it's been with me for a very long time. I have David Lee Moth tattooed on my right leg. So I mean, I live with it every day. It's a part of me. It's ingrained in my career. It's ingrained in my history. It's ingrained in my home. So the band means quite a bit to me, and I'm happy that we still get to keep making music and continue making music, and very, very thankful for the fans and the people that we've met along the way.
Well, there you guys go. The Absence has a new album out on M Theory Records called Coffinize. And Jeramie, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us today, and stay safe out there on the road.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, as always.